Peace FM 104.3. Good to meet you.
What about crisis, banking and financial crisis? That is one area that Nipa Bibri and Hokai, Abainankasa Hokai, individuals, companies, organizations, livelihoods. To start off with, banking crisis, why didn't we just let it ride? I didn't hear Sadi.
Hey, Kwame.
Yes, sir.
Let it ride, yeah.
I said, Nipa Bebre Pache said their lives were moving on. Okay. Inti banking financial energy and which anaba.
Kamuna driver no or the question. But now Tihosa say everything is going well. Next thing you know, you are jumping over the cliff when you're accident. But let us go back to the beginning. Banking crisis is very sad because the previous government were fully aware, say there was a problem.
They were?
Fully aware, say no problem was in terms of the financial sector and the banking sector. 2015, IMF asset quality review. 2015, and it showed major problems in the banking sector. I spoke about it sometime in 2015, and Mika said we have 8 banks which could collapse if nothing is done about it. A former president, in his State of the Nation address in 2016, pointed to the problems, especially in the microfinance sector. Even under their tenure, 82 microfinance institutions collapsed. 82, including DKM. So there were such bad practices of governance and the management of these institutions, and we had to step in because some of the banks were set up without any capital. They just lied their way to setting up the bank. They moved money here, showed it to the central bank. Central bank gave them the license. Then they moved the money out. And they were using central bank liquidity support for other purposes rather than reviving these banks. So when we say by the time we got into office, things were really unraveling. And the new management at the central bank decided to rescue, because we were on the brink, really on the brink of a collapse of the system. And so they had to move quickly to rescue the financial system. And that is why they revoked the licenses, I think, of about 9 banks or so, and 23 savings and loans, and over 300 microfinance institutions. And that act is one of the most important acts that have been done to save our economy. Kwame,
yes, sir.
You had depositors, 4.6 million depositors whose monies were at stake. 4.6 million. Kwame, can you imagine, say pay 4.6 million people who lose their deposits completely? Can you imagine? Like the 82 that had already lost, 82 depositors of the 82 financial institutions that had collapsed before, who were not paid. We were on the brink of losing the deposits of 4.6 million people. Intina, the rescue plan was implemented, and you had to essentially rationalize the banking system and make sure that the deposits were saved. And so those deposits were saved. At the end of the day, government has had to expend, close to 21 billion in the financial sector to save these deposits.
Was it that bad?
It was, Kwame. When I saw the numbers at the time, It was quite frightening.
Reason I'm asking, was it that bad, is because some have said that we could have handled it better. We could have found ways to go around it without people losing their jobs and
but Kwame, it doesn't make sense, because we were trying to handle it. That was how it was being done before as a country. They were being given support to try to keep them afloat. Liquidity support, but it wasn't being used for the right purpose. And when you have people who have mismanaged banks, and they don't have the capital, and they've missed all the supervisory regulatory ratios that are required, it's not new that you close the banks, but you make sure that the customers' deposits are safe. So you move them, in this case, they move them to GCB and Consolidated Bank for the most part.
Also, 2015 as a 2014, IMF, World Bank, Nina, can say, banking crisis, it's on our hands. I'm a penny Sabreno, so can wasem. I didn't think the Bank of Ghana ain't taking action at the time. How about more Bank of Ghana, Yomo Juma? You've been deputy governor before. I didn't know Juma. I was somewhere in 1 year. And how come says I did buy Ubia as a Bank of Ghana?
I think there have been some reforms at the Bank of Ghana as a result, and I think that they have been very, very strong in looking at financial sector and putting in certain governance protocols, so that what happened, the AC, in CBM, that is what the Bank of Ghana has done, both internally and externally. But you are right, say some of the blame has to be at the feet of the bank in terms of our supervisory oversight, the bank's supervisory oversight, and then you are also dealing with the situation of the banks themselves, who were to a large extent presenting very false and misleading reports to the central bank about the state of their data, their records, their financial records. Very misleading reports, as we've seen. So we are moving forward to do it. Right now, as you know, that there is still the issue of some of the savings and loans and microfinance companies that have not yet been paid. The depositors, the banks have been paid, but what we want to ensure is equality of treatment between what we have done for the bank customers and what we have to do for the savings and loans, and no more any for microfinance customers. So I'm happy to say that so far, as at yesterday, I am informed that the liquidity has now been raised to take care of all the savings and loans and the microfinance companies. So I think that the receiver is going to go ahead starting this week to make payments to these groups, like DKM customers and so on. It is very, very important that process begin, and we hope it will be completed very soon.
Your Excellency, talking about payment, Nipa Bisu wa Hompache say Omanpenyi Nanado Dankwe Kufado ka say ibetiomuka tells you YouTube biaka. Inso bi patches omonsanka omusika. Ebisu patches say mama muskani fien bi ana ne aka na mo say bonds. Bond so de sebe and school fees in electricity in toilet. Yes sir.
As I'm say 98% of depositors Omusa aka omusika. That's what the receiver tells us. 98%.
Omusika 100%.
Yes.
And I say Sikane bond.
Well, I think that there's a mix of the two.
Okay.
Sikane bond so but I think that 98% have gotten. But the bond is just basically an acknowledgement of an obligation to you. So the government may not have enough cash, but tells you that I owe you. right? So we will give you that money. But that gives you comfort compared with someone telling you have lost your deposits. So, but what we are doing now, the savings and loans and microfinance, what is being raised, I think they are going to try to pay them in cash. And what we are hoping to do also is to try to restructure those bonds so that we can give them liquidity rather than the bond. So that is also work in progress. Ministry of Finance and Bank of Ghana should be working on as well.
Well, interesting, in case you just...
This FM 104.3,